To do a wheel isolation manipulation, we make a few assumptions. First, we assume that wheel 3 will indicate a gate first, and we also assume that wheel 2 will indicate a gate second. Those are pretty good assumptions. That's what we saw in our previous manipulation. This gives us a very quick manipulation if we're right. Otherwise, we make a mistake and we typically have to start over on one of the steps. The process is to keep wheel 1 and 2 at a known location, and then we just scan wheel 3 around and hope to find a gate indication. As soon as we find one, we stop and amplify to determine the gate center. Since we're only moving wheel 3, we know the gate belongs to wheel 3, and we don't have to do a high-low test. Then we keep wheel 3 and wheel 2 at a known location, with wheel 3 at the known gate, and just scan wheel 2 with right rotation. Again, when we see a gate signature, we amplify. No need for a high-low test. Finally, exactly like we did before, we do a brute force scan to open. This, as I said, is a quicker manipulation. Okay, so we've already opened this with a standard manipulation, which is the all wheels left, and then basically keep scanning. We talked about wheel isolation and that it's a good way of doing things. So we're going to be trying with wheel isolation. And so what we're going to be doing is just moving wheel 3 and keeping wheel 1 and 2 on a fixed location and hope we get an indication. So this is much faster because we're making lots of assumptions about which wheel is going to indicate first. And at the end, we may not be able to open this, or we may have to start again just because we're making assumptions which may or may not be true. So we're going to be spinning wheel 3 around, and I'm going to start with everything on 0. And then I'm going to start our all wheels left scan here. Let me just check to make sure I got everything set on 0. And we're going to be doing an all wheels, or sorry, a wheel 3 only scan. And we're going to be assuming that wheel 3 indicates first, and we're not going to be writing anything down. We're making assumptions about it. We're also making assumptions that leaving wheel 1 and 2 on 0 isn't going to shadow the gate. We could do an all wheels left scan, say every 10 numbers on the dial, and find a low point and park 1 and 2 in a low point, but we're just going to go for it. So I'm doing an all wheels left scan, so we're starting at 0. Oops. Let me just make sure that's right at 0. I just knocked it, so we're starting at 0. All the wheels are at 0 now, and we're going to do an indication here, and this is about maybe a little bit less than 2 millimeters, or 20 millimeters, 2 centimeters. So that's what we're going to do. We're not writing anything down. We're just going for it. So I'm going to move this to 2, from 0 to 2. And then I'm going to, again, this is under 2 millimeters, so we don't get an indication. And go to 4. We'll see that this is much faster in terms of manipulation speed. But like I said, there's assumptions. And if the assumptions are wrong, like wheel 3 is indicating with the other wheel 1 and 2, then that is obviously a problem. That we won't get a result here. So I'm going to go to 8. But I don't have to do a high or low test on this because I'm only moving one wheel. So if I see a gate, I know it's on wheel 3. And I'm not doing as careful calculations as I normally would because I'm just looking for differences. I'm not graphing this. In fact, we don't have to do these numbers here inside the I just been doing them just because I've been doing a blind scan, but you don't actually have to do those numbers up till 12 or between the two contact points because you can't have wheel 3 in those contact points. So I'm going to start this at let's say 14 here. And then we made this up to 16. And 18. And 20. And we're expecting an indication at 50, so it's going to be a little while. 24. You can see this is much faster than a normal scan. 28. 30. 32. 34. 36. 38. 40. 42. 44. 46. 48. We might start seeing an indication now. 50. Okay, so that's at least, that's about 2 millimeters difference. Let's say 51. So we've seen a reasonable drop now. So let's go to 52. Should see that diminishing now. Yeah. And we'll do 53. Yeah, so we've seen a fairly big drop here. If we were to continue here to 54, we'll see it back up above 2 again. Yeah, so I would say there is a gate there at about 50. So let's just amplify on that. I'm just going to do an all wheels left amplification on it, just because it's a little bit easier. So let's do 49. Make sure we can see our gate. So that is 21 millimeters, 50. That is 22 and a half. We'll do 51. That is 22 and a half as well. And 53 or 52. That is 21 and 53. Again, 21. So, and we go 54, we should see it starting diminishing now. We're seeing it 2 and 55. It should be totally gone now. Yeah. So we saw a nice jump up. Now we're at like 18 or something like that. So we saw a nice jump. So we would conclude that wheel 3 is indicating at, and if we look where the middle, that would be 51 again. Okay, we're going to be just isolating wheel 2. So we'll be moving wheel 2 from 100 backwards down to 0. We should find our gate at 24, so it can take a little while. The turns here are a little bit complicated, so it's easy to make a mistake. If we make a mistake, we'll try and correct it. So let's start with an all wheels left, pick up all the wheels. I'm just going to park wheel 1 at 5, so it's out of the way. And then I'm going to pick up wheel 3 and wheel 2 and set them to 0. And then will just move wheel 3 to 51 with a left rotation. And then we'll do a check. And we are at 35. And the needle might have, I think I jogged the needle here, so it might be reading different from the last one. That's okay. We're just looking for relative differences. So if that ever happens, you can mostly ignore it. You just have to make sure that where it happened, that you don't have a discontinuity that you think is a gate. But just ignore it, especially if you're doing a different scan. So now we're going to do a right rotation and pick up wheel 3 and wheel 2. And they are at 0 now, so, or moving down to 98. And then we will move wheel 3 to 51 and do a reading here. And then do a right rotation. Pick up wheel 3 and pick up wheel 2. We're going to go pick out 98 and go to 96. And then, so the dialing here is a little bit complicated, but you just have to make sure that you are paying attention and don't over dial. So here we are. I can feel it at 96, so I don't even have to remember which number I do it. As long as I know approximately where it is, it's fine. So let's go to 94 and then put this at 51 and then do our reading. No indication. We just have to make sure we go right. And then I can feel it at 94. So let's go to 92. Get it up to 51. So we can see wheel 1 isn't moving, and wheel 3 is always returning to the same location. So the only thing that's changing is wheels 2 location. So we'll go to 90. And again, we're going to be spinning for a while here because we got to go work down to 24. So we'll go to 88. And I'm not writing anything down because I'm just looking for differences, and it's all staying at 35 millimeters here. So it's easy to see when things change. Okay, go to 86. And then 84. And then 82. And now we're in a roll. So we'll go down to 80 this time. $78. And then 76. And then 74. And then 72. $70. It's a little bit lower there, but not enough to really matter. We're looking for a fairly prominent one, prominent gate signature. So let's go to 68. And 66. And this is pretty much a worst case scenario because we're having to do almost the entire dial. And that's just because of the way right rotations work. Okay. And I forget what we were, but I can feel it at 64. So let's go to 62. Sorry, we're doing right rotations to move the wheels. And we'll go to 60. A little bit of an indication there, but not much. Now we're at 58. Again, we've got a little bit of a lower spot there, but that's okay. Okay, go to 54. Or 56, I should say. And then 54. Again, we got all the rotation directions correct. So we're again at 35, 36, 37, which I don't think is indicating we've been there for a while. So I'll go to 52. And then we'll go to 50. We're getting pretty close to our gate, so we should be indicating pretty soon. Okay. Okay, let's go to 46. That picked up both of them at the same time because they are basically at the same location now. So now we'll pick it up. We'll just move it a little bit. So things have changed a little bit just because of the way the wheels are set. We went past one of the numbers, so things are a little bit different. So be careful when you're doing that. No indication there. So we're picking up very close here. Again here, so we're going to go to 44. We're going to pick up here at 44 and go to 51. So very small changes. Yeah, and then again pick up at 51 and then 54, go to 42. And then be picking up here and going immediately to 51. And picking up, going to 40. Picking up 40 and going to 51. Going to 38. And then 36. 24. Go 32. That was a higher part of the wheel there too. Oh, I might have missed out the last one, but that's okay. Okay, we'll do 30. Well, we're getting really close now. And 28. Oh, 26. We may start getting indications now. No, not yet. 24, which is where the number is. So we should see an indication here if our wheel 1 isn't masking it. Oh. I'd say that's a pretty big jump. So that is indicating a gate. So let's see if it disappears rapidly. So I was at 24, so let's go to 22. I didn't think it was going to indicate there for a minute. Yeah, we're back down to sort of normal numbers. So let's actually move those wheels up and then in the wrong direction here. So we're doing left turns of these just to move them. And I'm going to amplify around that. So we want to do, let's see, it's 25. I don't think I dialed that one correctly. Let's see. Let's reset this. I think I missed out that one. So let's set the bottom wheel at 5. We'll bring wheel 2 up to 25. Oh, it might have been there. I think I was dialing correctly. I just couldn't see it because it's perfectly behind the fence. That's okay. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We've got 35, 36, 37, 38. And then we'll do 24. So we're amplifying right now. So we got 42. Go to 24 or 24. Yeah. Again, really, really low. Okay, so let's go to 23. And it looks like it's gone. So I would conclude that there is a gate at about 24. So there we go. There's that part. And now we just have to do the same exact, since we know what what wheel 2 and 3 is, at this stage, we would do exactly the same thing as we did from the normal one, where we're trying every combination. And I'm not, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that right now. You can look at it in the other video since this is exactly the same dialing and you're not going to be learning anything from it. But that's how to do a isolation.